I'm going to be listing 5 books that you need to read in 2025, and I'm going to be convincing you to read them based off quotes, vibe and aesthetic, the genre, and what you gain from reading these books. All right, we're going to start with the first book, and the first book is definitely very biased from me because it's my favorite book of all time, but that is exactly why you need to read it, and that is The Starless Sea. Now, I have a couple banger quotes in here that are going to convince you. I promise it's going to convince you to read it. Here are the quotes. Once, very long ago, time fell in love with fate. How does someone come up with that? I don't know. I don't really know. I could never be an author because God knows, like, I don't know what this quote does to me, but it does something magical. A boy at the beginning of a story has no way of knowing that the story has begun. He has walked through puddles of ink and left footprints that formed stories in his wake that he did not turn around to read. Like, if you really sit down and think about these quotes, they're deep as fuck. For those who feel homesick for a place they've never been to, those who seek even if they do not know what or where it is that they're seeking, those who seek will find. Their doors have always been waiting for them. Now I'm going to be doing a little montage here of the vibe and aesthetic of the book if the quotes did not convince you enough somehow. And I'll put in a little song. Hopefully I don't get copyrighted. The genre of this book is romantasy and has magical realism. Now, what you gain from reading this book. You know when you have a crazy, magical, euphoric dream and then you wake up and you're sad as fuck because you're dumped back into this like boring reality that we currently live in? That's what this book feels like while you're reading it. It's the perfect form of escapism. Now, the next book that we have, of course, is The Song of Achilles. Quotes by Song of Achilles. He is half my soul, as the poets say. Number 2 favorite quote of all time besides the time and fate one. It's just, okay, these quotes are literally just different forms of saying I love you, like without saying I love you. And I can't. I would know him in death. At the end of the world. I could recognize him by touch alone, by smell. I would know him blind, by the way his breaths came and his feet struck the earth. I rest my case. If that did not convince you enough, though, then here are some vibe and aesthetic sort of pictures. The genre of this is historical fiction romance. And what you gain out of this book, okay, so you know how happiness is on one side of the spectrum and sadness is on the other? Like, we've got a scale here. Well, if you want to feel every bit of emotion on the whole entire scale, including both extremes, then read this book. All right, the next one we have Bunny. Now, Bunny took me for a wild fucking ride. I will tell you, if you... Actually, I'll save it for the end. Here are the quotes. Why do you lie so much? And about the weirdest things, my mother always asked me. I don't know, I always said. But I did know. It was very simple. Because it was a better story. This book, you don't know what is true, what's not true. You don't even really know what's happening. So, felt like this quote was very pertinent for... the entire story. She was a great girl, shaped forest. She was a thing on fire. Her hand was leaves and smoke and snow and flesh all at once. She looks so much like a cupcake that when I first met her at orientation, I had a very real desire to eat her, bite deeply into her white shoulder, dig a fork into her cheek. Yeah, this book's fucking weird, but we love weird. Yes, we do. Now, let me give you the vibe. This genre is literary gothic horror, I believe. And now, what you gain out of reading this book is confusion. It's a fever dream. I felt like I didn't know what was real, what was real. Was I real? Are you real? I don't know. Is the book real? Who knows? And that is what I felt like the entire time. And if you have already read this book and you're like, yeah, girl, like fucking period, like, yeah, this shit for real, but you're also confused on the ending, or maybe you watch this video and then you are gonna read the book. My phone died and I don't really remember what I was yapping about, to be completely honest with you. If you indeed do read this book because you're like, yeah, I trust this bitch's opinion, I actually have a theory video on the ending of Bunny. I think I did 4 different types of theories on how I think it ended, because it really does need a video for this book. Like, it's fucking wild. It'll probably be linked here if I can figure out how to do that. If not, it'll be linked at the end of this video. 4th book that I recommend that you need to read in 2025 is Alone with You in the Ether. I like it, he said. What? He loosened the wine from his lips. Your brain. Again, this is like another way of saying I love you without actually saying I love you. Like, can you imagine? Actually, I have gotten this compliment before, which is why I was like, oh damn, like just someone being like, I like your brain, or like, I love your brain, I love figuring out your brain. Excuse me? My God, what a waste of time doing anything else but holding her. Tears in my eyes. He doesn't want to be the person she hides from. He wants to be the person she hides with. Now let me show you the vibe. So this genre is contemporary romance, I'm pretty sure. And why you should read this book. Well, okay, first I'll say that this book was placed in my life and I read this book. It was one of those books where I read it at the perfect time. So I'm probably a little biased when it comes to this book, to be completely honest. But I mean, all book recommendations are a little biased, I guess. But the only way that I can describe how I felt reading this book, it made me feel like I was floating on a cloud with my soulmate beside me. Especially listening to music. If you guys aren't listening to music, even like instrumental or like lo-fi music or whatever, while reading books, like listening to music while reading books transformed the whole entire game for me. Please do it. Please. Oh my. Okay, now last book, 5th and final book that you should read for 2025. I felt like I should put a nonfiction one in there. And now this one's gonna be, I wouldn't say controversial. If it's controversial for you, then like, hell, get off the internet. If you have a fear of death and what comes after, if not really religious, you don't really know what you believe in, I believe this book is for you. That's how I am, and this is how this book was for me. So let me give you the quotes. Each body leaves an imprint on you, at least for a while. There's some bodies I have had that I can never get away from altogether. Even though you're free of them, you keep some of the outstanding memories of your bodies in certain lives. Can you describe the creator in more human terms? As the ultimate selfless being, which we all strive to be. I have never annotated a book more in my life than this goddamn book, okay? So I don't know if that, okay. Anyways, here are some pictures to describe, you know, the vibe. This book, like I said, is nonfiction, and what you gain out of this book is a lot, actually. Those that don't know what they believe in but want the most realistic sort of answer that provides comfort at the same time. This borders on the aspect of spirituality, religion, and science. It's got a good mix of both. Now, this psychologist-scientist guy uses hypnotherapy to conjure past life regression and gathered people of all different kinds, people of different races, different ages, different genders, different types of religion, which was, I think, very important for this to actually work. Different people around the world. Essentially, he would ask them the same things. He would go through the same process with all of them to see what they would say, what their experiences were. And they all told him the same thing, you know, one way or another. Like, you know, when we passed away, apparently, we go to this place that's, some people call it the ice castle, some people call it the place of glass, some people call it the place of white. People have different things that they call it, but it's all relatively the same thing. So we kind of, you know, got a consensus of it, and like, but I don't know, this shit's so crazy. And if it's real, low-key, afterlife seems lit as fuck. So I actually like, you know, not so existential crisis-y anymore. That's it, folks. Did you fucking believe it? Those are the 5 books that I think you should read in 2025, and hopefully I convinced you. And if not, then, well, you know, So you're missing out on some great fucking bangers here. If you ever have any recommendations on videos I should make, well, here's the thing. I'm not really a niche type of person. I react to things. I do vlogs. I do book content. I do stream content, like advice content. I don't even know. So make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and I will catch you in the next video. See you D-gens then.